are coming, I know getting together after we've done a survey in the fall about the resources in your parks have been a long time coming. My name is Rebecca Sinclair. I'm a Deputy Chief of Staff to Supervisor Laura Gillen. Supervisor's on her way. She'll be here in a couple minutes. She's coming from another event. I also have with me from the town Deputy Parks Commissioner Ray Roden here in the front. And our Chief of Staff, who's on the phone, will be right back, Jim Lackaruba, is in the back.
Can you turn the lights on so we can see what you look like?
You won't be able to see
If that's important to this presentation, I'm happy to do it for you. I don't think we can see the screen though, so it's near the screen. There we go. Right. So we've been speaking, with different members of your community, I think for about a year now, about some challenges, within the Parks District. Particularly, it started with a conversation about Rath Park, and you had some very active members of your community concerned about your ball fields, concerned about the condition of the dugouts, and there were just sort of a long list of issues related to what was happening with the operations and maintenance of your facilities. And there's been some great things that have happened from people being engaged in communities in the town with parks. I don't know if you know the story of Winston Park, which is a pocket park that was just created in Merrick. And it was a group of community folks who got together and decided that this park was more than just a dog run. And now it's this awesome park where families can go and play. So having folks from the community engaged and advising us on what they want and what resources they want, I think is really important. I know that our office is always available and open. We want you to reach out to us. We want you to tell us what's not working. We want you to tell us what is working and things of that nature. So I just want to open the meeting like that this is sort of a step that's come after several steps. The first was, again, the community survey back in the fall. We'll go over the responses to that. I think we sent it out to almost 9,000 people. And we had, I think, a little under 400 respondents. But we do have folks that regularly reach out to the town and come in on the Parks District regardless. So let me open by first saying, when I asked for a map of the Parks District, I received this. So this is from 1955. Rath Park actually says park planned on it in the middle. And if you want to really see this, I can send this out to someone to look at after. But so in terms of the resources we have around parks planning and modernization, which is something that our administration is working on, and many other tracks. I mean, this is a great example, right? What does a comprehensive parks map look like? So we have this from 1955. So I want to talk about the special parks district for a minute, because I think that a lot of what we've learned is that folks aren't sure when they're a parks district what they're paying for and what that means. So in a parks district, most of the folks in your community are paying around $200 annually in their taxes, and it could be a little more, a little less than that, to be part of this parks district, right? You are because of where you live, your address is within the district. That $200 goes for the operations, maintenance, facility improvements, everything that's happening in those parks. So any capital improvements that happen within your parks district come out of that budget. And I think that there was some confusion around that in terms of, well, what's available in the budget? Once we do operations and maintenance, which include staffing, salaries, and yearly maintenance and things of that nature, what's really left? And I'll sort of walk through recent expenses to the parks district. So you guys have 4 parks in your district, which I think most people are most familiar with. Rath Park. Garden City South Park I think it's just a playground and some tennis courts. And then you have Cornwall Park, which is just a pocket park. It really just has a small amount of playground equipment. Here's just a picture in case you didn't have been there.
These 4 parks are all part of that special park district?
Yes. So anything that's related, again, to the operation and maintenance, it's not, when you look at Rath as sort of the focal point, it's these other parks are also included in all of that budget. So Cherry Valley was acquired in 15-16. It was about $2.7 million. So your parks district bonded to acquire that park. So part of what you pay in your Parks District fee is the debt service for the acquisition of that park. Since they acquired the park, I think it closed in 2016, the closing of the acquisition, they spent about $213,000, which includes a $100,000 grant from the state to do, I think it was the fencing and some of the dugouts. Oh, and the lighting. I think the lighting was the majority of those state grant funds. But so far, again, $213,000 from the district, plus the $100,000 from the state has been invested there. But really, most of the investment, I think, in really the last 7 years has gone into RAF. And so I know that there's been deferred maintenance and there's been challenges there, but there has been all of these improvements here that have happened. You want to, I don't know if we can shut the lights.
Chris, turn that light switch off right there. That might help.
Is that better? I'm sorry you can't see it. I can make this available to everyone following it. You'll have the list with all of the budget numbers I'm going to give you. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. Right. So it's included improvements to the pool deck and main pool area. So why don't, I think it'd be easier if we distribute this back out to you all. But these are a list again of things that have happened in the last 7 years.
It doesn't say that word.
Okay, great. So this survey. Oop.
Shower heads up there. Shower heads in the men's locker.
It said that
There's only one working that's any good there.
Okay.
Because we all fight for that one corner.
That must be something to see.
Denise, for years.
Okay. So it does say that there's been new bathroom fixtures. I don't know if that means shower heads or sinks, so we can clarify that for you. Okay. So when we had, again, we started the conversation with the community about the things they wanted. I mean, there was some things that were highlighted about the quality of the fields, the quality of the fencing, having a pathway, improving the benches, and sort of really modernizing the park, right? We went there and we saw, you know, some courts, some bocce courts that we don't think were necessarily being used. There were certain components about it that I think maybe weren't serving the community as it is today with the number of children that come to this park. So what we were really sensitive of, though, is that if we had to bond for any additional capital improvements, it means that your Parks District fees would increase. And so that's why it was really important to include in this community survey the appetite for any increase in those expenses. And I think that we were really cautious about it. We wanted to sort of put that question out there. And so we did get, again, some responses. I'll go through those next. So 70% of people primarily use RAF Park. The facilities most often used are the pool, the playground, and the baseball fields. 46% of you felt that the parks were in fair condition. However, 41% of folks felt that the parks were actually in poor condition. It's not included in this slide, but I just will mention that there was a very specific response to the question about raising the Parks District fees. And so when we get to sort of the conclusion of what we want to present to you and we really open it up to talk about your concerns about the park, we'll say that everything that we've looked at to date has been to put a $0 impact on your Parks District fees in terms of looking at the budget and what you can actually do. So some key components that people were concerned about was the safety and security of the park, which is something we've heard in the last year. I think there are some cameras there. There's been some challenges there. I know that in that district, right, it's a park for residents only, and that's been a challenge with having non-residents come in and use the equipment and facilities.
Why has that become a challenge?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Why is that such a challenge?
What?
About the non-resident usage?
I'm saying that folks are coming in that aren't part of the district. I'm saying that's a challenge for you in the operation of the park, that you have folks there that aren't paying, they're not residents, that they're in your park using your facilities.
Why is that such a challenge to the park district?
Why can't we correct that?
Why can't that be
Isn't that
corrected?
the purpose of public safety?
So public safety does patrol the area. There are park supervisors there. To the extent, depending on who these folks are coming in, if they're children, you know, I don't know if they're carrying IDs, if you can have them removed. I'm not really sure, depending on the situation, how that can be regulated out. But
I think that's a major concern for most of the people in this special park district that pay that extra money.
right.
To have that.
Ray, do you wanna? Great.
Over the years, we've added security staff there, and we've attempted to ID people who are using the parks. What we discover is that there is a significant body of people who bring guests into the park. Who bring guests.
Could you speak louder, please? Could you speak a little louder, please?
You're permitted to bring guests. And if someone identifies another person as I am that person's guest, then you cannot ask them to leave. For example, on the tennis courts, we have actually ID'd people on the tennis courts to limit usage on the courts because we can control that directly. The basketball courts, much more difficult. Someone is there and I'm a guest. You can then evict the Franklin Square resident who can ID themselves as a Franklin Square resident. You can't evict them without evicting their guests. So that becomes very difficult.
There's nobody ever there. That sounds well and dandy. I'm up in that park almost every day. I have never, not one time, seen anybody ID anybody. And let me finish. And I brought this to the attention of Denise, who I don't see here tonight, miraculously. You're probably working, but you don't show up. Her response is, there is no way to enforce it. What would you like me to do? Okay? There's been numerous occasions where the security guard, you walk into that office, sits up there, in that office, not outside, with his feet up on the desk on more than one occasion. Absolutely. Okay? So let's call it what it is. Nobody is doing anything there. Okay?
Well, what I hear you
It's
saying
difficult
is that
to
we have a
do.
supervisory problem.
You certainly do.
It is difficult, not impossible. I was addressing the difficulty of it. There are times it is extremely difficult to determine. For example, I was there late in September, basketball game, and at least half the people there said, this person's my guest, and this person's my guest, because we were actually called because Franklin Square residents were concerned that the players were not Franklin Square residents. It becomes very
The
difficult.
implication of
But
the
I
policy
will,
really is the enforcement when it comes to the basketball court. So
And I'm
we need
just-
to figure out some kind of plan to
You
correct
go to
that.
these other parks, there are people sitting there. I mean, I'm sure the summer's coming, and we're gonna have a bunch of people signing up for summer jobs that are gonna work there. I can't see what the huge problem is with stationing somebody at either entrance and IDing people that come in and out of there, like in other parks.
but it still
Across
becomes,
the
it
county.
becomes supervision, effective supervision of it. And I hear you saying that we don't have that. Now, look into that, because if I have a security person there, I'm expecting that person to.
I find it hard to believe that this is
Where is
what
the security
somebody's
person
talking
supposed to
about.
be
I will follow.
when they're on the job? Where is the security individual, security resource? Where is that person supposed to be when they're on the job?
Well, we've used two types of security at Franklin Square Park, at Rath particularly, because of other difficulties other than using the park itself.
Okay.
During the height of the summer, we have a roving security person who drives a car around the area.
Rath Park?
Yeah.
Sir, I don't know if you've been to Rath Park. I've been a resident for 15 years. I've never seen one person, one time, ever patrol there. The only thing I see there are people smoking pot on the handball courts. That's the only people that are in that park.
Are they residents?
Excuse me.
By using that roving security personnel, we were able to change the culture of what happens in the parking lot. So,
No.
Public
So
safety
I think
eliminated
that-
the post they used to have there. They used to have a public safety, when they removed that years ago, it became a problem.
No, we
We've
actually
asked
have
several
a
times for them to put back a post, a permanent post at there for public safety. There.
Both
Not
entrances.
security that that the park hires that doesn't do anything. Physical public safety, a uniformed presence will defer.
There's a $4 million budget for this park a year. This park should be run like a country club.
So can I just do the, can we,
I don't wanna look at this $200,000 of improvements.
Okay,
$4
can
million
let me get
is
to
a lot
the,
of
let me
money.
get to the 4 million, and we can talk about what's left in the budget, and then we can open up the floor and everyone can give their recommendations for safety.
There should be better supervision. The kids with the bikes, they fly through. I almost got hit in the rear end last year.
That was you?
I said, no. Walk. That bike. In a rack.
No.
Not ride around. There's no supervision. Nobody stops the kids. That's the problem.
Okay, so I'm gonna quickly get through this, and then we can open it up and we'll talk about the safety, about the reestablishment of the safety officer, all of that. So, one key thing that people were interested in having for the park was a spray pad. And I'll say this before we get to the end, where we talk about what's bondable that won't raise the cap of the fees in your district. The rate right now for a spray pad, and we're doing them in a couple other parks that had them in their capital improvement budgets for several years, is between $350,000 and $400,000. So I just like to sort of give a value to that so you can understand why it's not just sort of one of those things that we can just do. There's a lot of infrastructure involved, there's drainage, and then the materials that go into the installation of a spray pad.
Are you saying that most of the residents are opposed to raising the rates?
The rates or the taxes?
The rates to join the pool, you're saying most people,
No. I'm talking about the fee you pay right now as the tax.
oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, no. Yes.
But it's based on the whole town of Hempstead already. You're speaking of just a little bit of extra. Where's the rest of the money that we're paying for our park?
Nobody
Where's our share of the general tax?
I foiled it.
It's
the employees.
For the
I
special
foiled it.
district, correct.
It came
Where's the
back.
rest of our
No
town
rest.
So
money?
you get a
Literally.
portion, you also have a portion of you're a portion of the town budget. No, you don't have, you're assigned a certain percentage of that into your budget. It's not that you're paying into the general, you're assigned it back into your Parks District budget.
But you're
And that
only
goes to
showing us that.
operation.
You're only showing us the $200 that we give.
That's all we're entitled to, is that what you're saying with part of the
You're
tax?
talking
Around $200.
But hold on, folks, so there's the $200 is your
Talk louder.
portion.
Can't hear you.
The $200 is the portion of your tax bill that goes towards the special parks district to maintain and operate the 4 parks here in Franklin Square that are part of your special district. If you're referring to the rest of your tax bill, is that the question?
No, I'm asking like if you want to join as a family member, it's how much a year?
You're talking about fees, we're talking about the
That's
taxation
specific,
for
that's
the
specific to the
district.
pool,
Yeah.
is what you're talking, yeah, that's a different.
Because we consider
thing.
non-residents in the town of Hempstead if we go to a town of Hempstead Park, correct?
No,
Because when I go to Echo Park and they tell me I gotta pay a non-resident fee.
That's a special tax district.
Hempstead Park residents.
Yes, that's right.
When you go to Echo Park, they're gonna tell you, live in Franklin Square, you're a special district, you gotta pay non-resident. So that's what he's questioning with the
But
tax.
you don't-
Are we paying
No.
the the only part, now, I
As
understand.
far as parks go, you only pay for the
We're
four
only
parks
paying
in
for
your
Franklin
district.
Square, we have no
Just like
portion
the folks in the
in our
Levittown Special
taxes
Park
for that.
District, they only pay for their parks. If they came to
That's where
Franklin
people are
Square, they
having,
pay a non-resident.
that's the misconception, because people are under the impression that they're paying for the town of Hempstead Park and the Franklin Square Park. We're only paying for the 4 parks in Franklin Square, correct? Is that how our taxes are working? We're not paying for the rest of the town of Hempstead Park, correct? That's what you're saying.
Not pay for the-
That's why we're considered non-residents when we go to a town.
Share it with your friends.
Do people in Merritt pay a special park tax?
If they
No.
asked for a special district, they would.
I don't work for
St. Thomas.
So they don't pay for their park.
They pay it.
We pay a town of Hempstead tax.
They don't pay a special park tax. But they do get that through their general tax, correct?
Correct, but the parks through a different mechanism.
What
yes.
mechanism is that?
It's through the general fund, it's not part of a special district.
And that's working into their taxes just like our general fund taxes, correct? We pay an additional on top of that.
So I'm just gonna jump in for a minute here. I'm Laura Gillen. I'm the Town of Hempstead Supervisor. I'm not Laura Curran. She is the county executive. She's a totally different person. Her name is Laura and she has blonde hair, but we are totally different people. She is in charge of the county. In case anybody wants to ask me about assessment, that is Nassau County. That is Laura Curran. I am Laura Gillen. I'm in charge of the Town of Hempstead. So just talking about special districts, I just want to jump in. Like, these special districts were created a long time ago. The county controller, Howard Weitzman, did a comprehensive analysis of special districts. The way special districts kind of started generating as people started moving out of the boroughs and into populating Nassau County. Some parts were rural, some parts tried to modernize and put in sewer systems. So as little pockets of Nassau County developed and they created areas that were separate taxing jurisdictions, they couldn't tax people out there on the farms for the sewers. So then they started creating all these special districts. Howard Weitzman took a look at this, I think in the early 2000s. He did this comprehensive audit of special districts and he recommended that we abolish special districts. And I think they put it out to a referendum and nobody wanted it. Everybody voted against it. So it became, because people liked having their own special little park district. So it's something that when it was presented across Nassau County a while ago, it's certainly, if you are against having special districts, let your voice be heard, and it's something that the county controller could look at again. But for right now, this is the system that we as a township have in place. We didn't create it, we inherited it, but we hear you. You have a very vocal resident in the back, Felix Procacci. He's been talking about Cherry Road ballparks, ball fields for a while. And the reason we're here today is because I know that this is a real concern. I got into office and I heard that there are concerns about Rath Park, there are concerns about all the different parks in the Franklin Square Special District. And we hear you and we're trying to address your concerns. We want to try to work with you. I'm hearing that security is a big concern. You're giving us that feedback. That's why we did this survey, because we want to be responsive to you. And we want to make you feel like you're getting the bang for your buck that you put into your special district. So that's what this meeting is about. That's why we put that survey out.
And also, anything on that survey is non-resident usage, and I can't believe for 1 second that that wasn't a topic that people brought up.
I think it's under the guise of security.
Guise is the correct word. I mean, come on, let's call it what it is.
What I'm saying is that
This
we
is our
had to
concern.
summarize 400 comments about concerns about the park, and so if we say security is an issue and security is relative to who's accessing the park, that is what we need.
And I just want you all to know that your 2 council members were both invited to participate in the meeting and they're not here. But
We are.
the people who are here are me, my chief of staff, my deputy chief of staff who oversees the Parks Department, and deputy commissioner who we invited to be here today.
Have you guys spent time up there on a Saturday afternoon or after 3 o'clock where my kid can't even go up there because he's been approached so many times that I've called 911? I am not putting my 12-year-old at risk anymore for what goes on up there.
I just want to say something, because they are here to help us, because Joel and I went to them
They are here to help us, they are completely on our side.
It's
Like,
terrible.
hold on, like Laura just said, the people who represent us and are responsible for our district, Bruce Blakeman, is not here, was invited multiple times. So I don't want it to become an attack thing, but they, Rebecca and Jim have both been at the park, at Rath Park, personally with me and Joel DiGilio, multiple times.
Yeah.
In the middle of the day,
I don't feel
at
comfortable
3,
going
with
out
my kids at the baseball game, so that they could see what has happened. And I'm not taking either side, because I am a true blue Franklin Square. I was born and raised here for 35 years. My parents are here 70 years. But I'm just putting it out on the table. Like, they are here to help us. They made this presentation. This is a year in the works. So if we could just like give them a chance and listen, and then they want to help us, so they want to make it safer. They want to fix the park. I mean, if you pass by, there are things being done. Should they have been done? Is it kind of basic maintenance? Absolutely. But it wasn't being done, and now it is. So now, hopefully, moving forward, they know that you can't be lazy on our dime. We're gonna get things done.
And that's what we're here. Thank you so much for your comment. I really appreciate that. We are here to help you. I'm a mother. I have 4 kids. I have 2 kids in high school, 1 in middle school, 1 in elementary school. You shouldn't have to worry about your kid being approached by a drug dealer or by, kids who are going to try to lead them astray in a park. So I'm hearing you loud and clear that security is a real issue, and we're here to get your feedback and to address your concerns. So that's why we're here. That's the point of this meeting.
Supervisor, prior to you going in, I'm President of the Civilian Patrol. We had requested on numerous occasions through the prior administration, through public safety, to put stop with the roving patrol and physically set up a post, which they had removed. They refused. We don't have enough money, we don't have enough people, but we've documented enough things, specifically with the police department constantly being called for the handball court, which should be gone anyway, because it's absolutely ridiculous what hangs out down there. But you need to realize that we used to, when I was a kid, somebody was at the gate, and you couldn't enter without your pool pass or proving that you belonged in that park. When I grew, that's how it always was. But Rath Park, over the last decade, maybe longer, became a dumping ground of other people from the other parks that don't do nothing.
Right.
That's why the park is declined.
And it's, at night, it's dangerous.
So that is something.
Yeah, very much. You need some better supervision is what you need.
I grew up in the town of Hempstead. I grew up in Baldwin. Now I live in Rockville Center, and I have seen over my lifetime, from when I was a child to now, the steady decline of our parks. They used to be the pride of the town of Hempstead, and we have seen them decline year after year after year. If any of you go to the beach parks, what they were when we were kids compared to what they are now, it's a steep decline. Like you said, there used to be at the beach when you were going down to the ocean. There used to be a security person there to make sure your kids couldn't go run into the ocean. There's no one there anymore. When I went to the beaches this summer for the first time as supervisor, I was horrified. People drinking beer, getting drunk. I have my lifeguards there, maybe your kids, and we have a bunch of drunk people going in the ocean. They have to risk their lives to go save them. There was no enforcement. So the first thing I did was call my chief of staff. He can tell you I bugged him all weekend long because I was patrolling the beaches. And I said, we have to increase our public safety at the beaches because this is not right. We can't have people, having smoking hookahs on the beach and drinking on the beach. Look, I care about this stuff. I am putting into place a plan to improve all of our parks. So this is something that you are preaching to the choir here. It's just a matter of going about it systematically. How do we get to the right way? And Rebecca is my deputy chief of staff, who's overseeing the Parks Department, and she is working very carefully with each park department. And my director of finance is looking at the budgets and seeing how people are living within their budget. So we want to make sure that your budget and all the dollars that you are spending on these parks are being spent appropriately.
The other thing, they bonded for Cherry Valley. I personally, maybe I'm wrong, I don't remember voting for a bond issue to buy Cherry Valley Park for $2.7 million. And we have to pay that out of the $4 million we're paying for our special park district. I was unaware of the Cornwell and the ball field. I thought the town had those. I thought we were only responsible for Garden City South and Red. That bothers me immensely, because that cuts a tremendous into what we're paying, and most of Franklin Square doesn't use those ball fields.
So that acquisition was under the Santino administration.
But that's what.
Murray administration.
If we're
That
paying a
ballpark
bond of
lose all
2.7
the time.
million.
It was Murray administration.
Right, it's closed, it's a lot, it's not accessible.
It's just Garden City South.
Right, it's just for the ball team.
I believe it in Franklin Square if we wanted our kids to play on that team, we could.
Right. Well, you can, the problem, you can play on that if you live in Franklin Square, you can live in District 17 and play. My issue is, if I'm paying for that park, no, my kids did, I live on Washington Street, my kids.
North of the
turnpike.
Willow.
Oh, Willow's, that's District 13.
No, if you go to Washington.
Yes, you can.
play there.
Yeah.
If you go to Polk, you can't.
And what I'm saying is, if they bonded 2.7 million without anybody in this room going, why are we paying it?
You should be, Deputy Commissioner, is that in fact true, that they can't use Cherry Valley?
Sure they can. Yes, they can.
Cherry Valley competitive ball field, and typically they have to belong to one of the leagues that use it. It's not open to the general
Right,
public.
leagues.
It's permitted.
So does Franklin Square Little League, they're not allowed to?
No. Garden City South runs that, Garden City South Little League runs that park.
That's not what we were told at the
But
meeting.
you have a Little League in Franklin Square.
Which plays at Red Park. Which is a public ball field. Red Park is a public ball field, anybody can go there and play any time of day. Garden City South is locked, and you can only use it when Garden City South teams are playing. That's my point, if I'm paying $3 million, I'd like to be able to take my kids there.
I think this is an issue we need to look at. Why does Garden City South get permits and not Franklin Square?
Because no original league team that was there, and when it was purchased, many years ago.
Right, but if then they should have paid for it by themselves.
But they can't, it's the same district.
They have a separate zip code.
Doesn't matter.
Right. I'm gonna look into this issue, because if you paid for that park, you should have access to the park. I agree with you. If it's your tax dollars paying for the acquisition and you're paying the,
It's also a Ram
Let's get Ben Regino, he was
Again,
on the
I
deal.
gotta look at the park, there's 2 fields in there, it's not designed for general use.
okay.
3 fields, isn't it?
2.
Cherry Valley is 3.
This is an issue that I was unaware of, and I'm gonna look into it for you, and I will get back to you, and I will answer to this community.
Right across from another, 1 field here, 1 field here.
I'm here 56 years. The tennis courts are terrible.
I never was there, I just read somewhere, I thought I read somewhere.
No, they're back-to-back fields.
Okay, 2 fields.
They leased that property from Garden City, and the sanitation department leased the property from Garden City. The sanitation department's lot, which they leased, was formerly Aurora Plastics lot, which they leased with Aurora Plastics.
So I've heard that the 2 are good and 2 are bad.
No, they're all bad.
They're all bad, okay.
Okay. At the pool, and she had the guy that takes care of the parks, the Italian guy. I'm Italian, and he was
No.
Great.
But those tennis courts are terrible. Terrible.
Third world.
Excuse me, when you've seen all those problems that you've seen in the park, were those problems ever rectified? When you said, she says that when she seen the parks and who was smoking hookahs and who was doing that, was those problems rectified?
Yeah, I called in public safety and increased patrols on the beach, and then we started ticketing people.
Nobody's talking about the beach, you're talking about Red Ball.
Well, what I'm trying to get at is, all of these years that we were supposed to get this, are we gonna get like a nice rebate in our taxes? Because none of this was ever rectified, and these problems, I'm here 45 years and
And
haven't
Red
seen the
Park
same
at
thing.
night
And we're all
is a
here.
scary place.
You better bring a gun to Red Park
I have
at
a
night.
question, I'm sorry, I
At
don't
night,
mean, I don't
even during
mean to
the day.
interrupt, but are you getting security cameras in Rance Park? Because my daughter, one of my daughters was beat up by 2 girls, and another one, my younger 7-year-old was almost kidnapped by someone. So I want to know, and police could not help, because there was no cameras. So are there, that's why I'm here today. I want to know if you're going to put in cameras.
So
I
what-
came in late, so I
It's
don't
to
know.
happen with the non-resident use.
That to me
Okay,
is the
so
most
I
important
hear
thing.
I hear the non-resident piece, I literally have just to say 5 more minutes and we'll get into what money is available to do capital improvements. I'll talk less than 5 minutes.
Who takes care of the park security at night? When there's nobody there but kids?
So public safety, public safety has different zones that they're assigned to, that they're supposed to drive
They're
through,
supposed to, but
and you
they're not
don't see
doing
them.
it. And the place is
They
ahead
sit on
of
Cherry Valley
neighbors,
in the sanitation parking lot all night.
needles, you name it, you got
They
it.
don't do anything.
Right on a residential street.
There's a
What's going
zone,
on?
so they're not just responsible for the parks, they're responsible for a zone that they patrol.
And is it a realistic area? If we're saying that our park is not safe and other parks also have issues in the town beaches, then clearly we need more security staff.
So each zone has a certain number of public safety members assigned to patrol it. But I hear what you're saying.
You gotta put GPS on that security car because he sits in sanitation department on Cherry Valley all night.
So why don't we just turn the lights on and I'll just tell you what you have and let's.
They also need folks to do that.
It's okay. So I'm going to talk through it. So let me just say one last thing. So we combed through your budget. We looked at everything that you're paying for. Out of $4 million, I think it's let me just make sure I'm sure. Almost $3.7 million is just the operations of the park. That's nothing new.
That's salaries?
That's
Well, how much is salary?
How many full-time employees do we have? We really don't.
$1 million. I foiled it. They said $1 million. I don't
So,
believe it.
so there's 3.6 million operation and maintenance. So that's everything they have to do for the pool season, chlorine, toilet paper, salaries, everything is 3.7 million. Your debt service on Cherry Valley is $445,000.
It's on the card again. I'll send you all the information about the Park District.
So that's your total budget at 4.1. So when we went through this budget and we looked at everything that you have to allocate for maintenance, operations, and all of that, there's enough money in there without changing, I'm gonna be really specific, without changing your current district fees, which means what you pay in your taxes doesn't go up, doesn't change. There's enough money in there for us to bond $300,000 worth of improvements.
How about security? Use it for security.
So I think.
So we can use the park.
Bond is a loan. We gotta pay interest on
So
it.
we can use the park. I don't wanna go to that park because I don't know what I'm gonna encounter.
So.
Are those maintenance fees also for the ball field? The back of that ball field?
I understand the frustration that everybody in this room is experiencing. Understand from our perspective, Supervisor Gillen and ourselves, we just got here in January of last year. We inherited a lot of this, and we're trying to find ways to fix it. We're trying to find, you can say what you want, sir, that's fine. We're trying to find ways to fix it. We're trying to find solutions to your security problems because we hear it loud and clear. We want to get the showers fixed. We want to get the tennis courts fixed. All of that stuff costs money. All of that stuff takes a little time. Again, since the supervisor came in, we've been talking with this community and members of this community related to these issues and are trying to find fixes. The $300,000 in bonding that we're able to secure some funding for is a start. We still think that there's more money in here that we can find to save, and whether we utilize it to do additional improvements or we utilize it to stabilize or lower the district taxes, that'll be another discussion with the community. But we're here to listen to your concerns. I understand your frustration.
The gentleman who said, "Here we go," that we got in a year ago, that's just a fact. I got elected, I took
I know,
office
but you use
January
the
1st,
excuse a month
2018.
later, 2 months later, a year later, come on.
I totally understand your frustration.
I do.
But when was the last time somebody in the prior administration had a meeting with you to say, do you wanna buy Cherry Valley ball field? When did they come to say that?
Never.
When did they hold a meeting like this to say, look, we understand you've got problems, we wanna help you, we wanna fix you? That's why we're here today. So here we go again. I understand people think politicians don't really care and they just care about getting into office, but I have had a long career in the private sector as an attorney. I can make way more money being an attorney. I ran for supervisor because I saw a mess that I wanted to clean up. This is part of that mess. I'm here to do a job. I work for you. I understand that. You pay my salary, and I take that responsibility very seriously. I have so many problems in the town of Hempstead that I'm trying to clean up. This is one of them. But I'm here because I care. And because I want to help you, and because I don't want your children to be unsafe. I want your children to be unsafe. I want your park to get what you deserve in a park. I'm here because I care. If I could fix every single park this year, if we have the money in our budget to do it, I would do it. We're trying to find a way with the budget and with the money we have to fix your park and to address your concerns. That's why we're here.
I've been waiting a while. I've been here 27 years, so let me just tell you, I have never been approached for anybody for security reasons. Anytime I have asked Denise about making improvements in the pool, you know, getting the shade over by the parking lot, getting the black, you know, fixed over the fences and stuff like that, I'm the reason why those improvements started 7, 8 years ago, because I had at least 500-600 people sign a petition to make some improvements in the pool. You know, we had a committee put together, but honestly, I think some of it was because of the prior administration. I think there's a lot of stuff going on. We did a Freedom of Information, foiled everything. They finally turned over the financials, and then they wouldn't give it to me. And then I was told, oh, they asked for it back. So you know what, you have a lot, you might have just come in, but you have a lot of stuff that has to be proved. And I don't think that there's, you know, I think there's a lot of money that's hidden in there that you can make improvements with. And as far as the beach goes, it's like a simple thing even. Why don't they have more garbage cans? I mean, I leave the beach and there's garbage all over the place because the cans are full. I mean, I don't know who's looking at where the money's being spent, but it's not being spent in the right places. Towards sanitation, towards security, towards making improvements. You know, when we put out the position originally, and I'm glad that you're doing this, but I just couldn't do it. I had my 4th young child, I'm back to work and stuff. I couldn't keep going and fighting like City Hall and stuff like that. And believe me, I take note of who's not here tonight, okay? And I hope everybody remembers this when they're voting come November, because look at Kate Murray's running for election again. Look at how we got into this mess. So, you know, and I'm not affiliated with any party, but I hope everybody pays attention.
I will note that the former mayor of Floral Park, Tom Tweedy, is here, and he's running for election.
Wow, I'm out.
Is he a resident?
Floral Park is a village.
Okay.
So,
Well, we're a special parks district.
but a village has jurisdiction over its own,
suggestions on what we could do?
over its own day. Rockland Center, we're a village, we have a parking field, all the village residents are allowed to park. We don't have jurisdiction over the villages. So, and just to stress your things are right, 100%. The financial information that you want about your park district,
And a lot of them are
you
smoking
shouldn't
pot.
have to foil for it.
I'm worried about my
I'm the first
kid going over
supervisor
there
that
all
ever
the time.
put the town's audited financials online. If
I know,
those
but
aren't online,
it's gotta
they'll
stop.
be
I
on
was
the
the first one to put them
page.
online.
You do right,
Can we
you shouldn't have to
listen to
foil
this
for
for right
any
now, guys?
financial information from the town. It's your money. You deserve to know how it's being spent. That's why I push forward transparency. If you go on our website, the budgets, the capital plan, almost all our financial documents are on there. I'll double check to make sure yours are, your park district budget is on there, and it will be on there as soon as possible if it's not up there already, because you shouldn't have to foil for that. You're entitled to that information.
Out of all the money that that you said is part of our parks, and this is how much we have for the park. And what is the biggest chunk that we're spending on? Your salaries? What is the biggest
Probably
chunk?
the biggest chunk. I mean, there are, I believe, 14 full-time employees that work the park district. And then in the summer, you get additional people to lifeguard, work the parks, park attendants, things like that. So that's probably when you figure in, it's not just their salary, it's their benefits and everything else, so you've got that fringe that's attached to it as well. So it probably eats up probably about half.
I know the public safety part won't come out of that budget. Can you guys meet with the Commissioner of Public Safety and find out how quick we can make that a permanent post again and have somebody permanently assigned to that park?
So I just sidebar with the commissioner, said that in the prior administration, and we hear this a lot throughout the town, is that folks were just sort of reassigned. And so I guess there was a post there until 1 a.m. and then there was someone circulating through, and that they just sort of got moved to somewhere else. So we're gonna find out where they went.
Roving patrol is not working.
Ma'am, you've been.
And then you said, well, 3.7 million is operating. That means actually nothing to us. That leaves us with $300,000. I think it should be a little bit more broken down than just 3.7 million goes for operating expenses. It's sort of just, it doesn't make any sense. Why do you need $3.7 million for operating expenses? And it leaves us $300,000.
So what I said, just to be super clear, is that you have a $4.1 million budget, okay?
4.2.
3.7 is operations and maintenance, so it's everything that needs to be done throughout the park, including the salaries, like I said, the toilet paper, the chlorine, the filters.
Let's use a lot of toilet paper.
All 4 districts, the maintenance of the fields.
You're not taking into consideration the money that everybody pays every year, whatever it is, a couple $100 a family to be part of that pool. What about that one?
It's about $105,000 in
Okay,
revenue,
that's a lot of toilet paper.
which is figured in, and it's not considered part of the tax levy. So when they tax
On
the
top of
district,
4 point whatever million.
no, it's, the tax levy for the district is only about 3.7 and change.
3.8.
Yeah, so 3.8, right around there, so.
3.84.
So no, we haven't allocated where the $300,000 go. The supervisor wanted to make sure we came here and listen. So security seems to be the top of the list as to where this money should go, as well as some improvements to showers and tennis courts. So that's the way we'll look to allocate those resources. And as we find more resources, we'll come back and we'll talk again. Because we don't want everybody to get to this frustrated state that they're in now, where nobody's been listening.
And we don't mean to take it out on you.
Understood,
We've been
but
there for a long
I
time.
got you.
We don't care about it in the straight talk.
Yeah.
We can't let our kids go there. Who cares?
Exactly, 100%.
Well, maybe we don't have to spend the whole $300,000 on more security, but maybe you need to reallocate and look at who's doing security now and spend that money in a better,
Well, I think
situation.
when you look at security, you look at it as a mix, right? You mix in some cameras with some additional patrols. So I think we can manage to figure out a way to do both.
But clearly it
All I gotta do is map GPS on all the employees and vehicles and look at what they're doing on a daily basis.
There's no management.
We're gonna take a look at that as well.
I wish I could go up and talk. I could tell them where all the money is.
Where's all the money? Salaries?
Nobody knows. I foiled it back in 2014. I got $1 million in salaries and $3 million in unspecified number that they said nobody knows what it is.
So you're saying it's not necessarily spent in the district it's collected?
Yes. Then I foiled it again this past year, I think 2017, 18, I forget. And I got, instead of, I didn't even get the salaries this time, and I got no records found.
No, they wouldn't post it.
It's a slush, no, it's a slush fund, it doesn't exist. The special park districts are shell game. I got Ira McCracken, he's the auditor for this area, at least he was back in 2012 for Denali.
Next week on the tree
Had him on
issue
the phone,
specifically in Ramp
December
Park,
2012, after
I'm
they
gonna be walking
audited
through the park
Animal
with the
Shelter.
commissioner and with
I was getting frustrated because we weren't communicating. I was Felix, you're not listening to me.
the commissioner sent
Just
the
show
deputy as
them
his representative.
what they do to make their budget work.
But the sign, this is the sign is 30 is where you can get the homes.
But it's the people, and it's even worse than that, there are people on the budget who don't even do any work. Zero.
It lists as employees, but they're not employees.
There's zero. They do zero work. That guy who got caught doing the $50 an hour golf caddy for Nassau County Park, Nassau County Golf Course, he works for the town, $135,000. He doesn't show up. Syed, his name is. They're all political operatives.
About raising our taxes. Is there a way that we could say
Get the
for
votes
1
to
year,
pass.
if you want to
Everybody
raise $1
votes
million
against her.
for 1 year, we could put it to a vote, is everyone willing to spend an extra, I don't know, $50 or $100 in their taxes, and then it would go back to raise for capital improvement? Is that even an option?
It doesn't work that way. So if you borrow money, like I'll use the ball field acquisition as an example. So the town paid $2.7 million to acquire those ball fields. You folks pay about $247,000 a year from your district just on that debt service, and that debt service carries over, I believe, 20 years. So you couldn't just do it as a one-year thing. It would stay consistent because that debt service would carry through all the other years.
And is that like?
But to borrow,
Is that something that?
to
we
borrow
could-
like $300,000, for example, it costs about $21,000 in debt service. So $21,000 across 9,000 homes, you're talking a little over $3 a household.
Okay, so something like that.
Yes.
And my second question is, being that we have all of these full-time employees, however, a lot of our issues are just before we can even do any kind of capital improvement, is the maintenance is not being done. Maybe we don't need all of these employees, are they all accounted for? Because maybe there's a
No,
nurse
no,
that's on the
tell you that,
salary that
no.
no one has ever seen.
Well, I don't know that the problem is that there's too many. I mean, the maintenance problem, if there's a maintenance problem, it's a twofold problem, right? One, it's either you don't have enough people, or two, you have a problem with the people that are doing the work. So it's, so it may not be that there's too many, it just may be that they're not doing it.
They're not being supervised.
Correct.
There's a crew chief for that area.
I mean, there needs to be a lot more accountability across the board between telling us that there's security when we know nobody's coming. Last year I saw a very elderly gentleman who was security, who went the other way when help was asked for. You know, and it was...
Can you blame him?
I mean, seriously, I was there, and maybe it was 2 years ago. Two of my daughters worked at the park. One of them was running a cheerleading or kick line group, and I was just waiting to take her home. She could not, somebody asked for help, she's in her town gear, so they went to her, but she's got her little girls, she can't leave them. There was no one to go for, someone was supposed to be there, there's no accountability. I was told that the wood that was replaced on benches recently, just in time, was sitting in a garage for over a year. Someone bragged to me that that wood was there for a year and a half.
Well, we're finally getting a roof on the shed in the back.
Maybe they need to be shuffled around a little bit to a different park where someone new and fresh can come in who wants to do something good.
Grass Park had their, the pool, the bathrooms in the pool, and the bathrooms outside, all redone. Okay? Who does that? Is it the town of Hempstead employees, or are they out?
It's a mix of work. So the town of Hempstead, we have employees that do plumbing work and carpentry work. So like the changing out of the fixtures in the bathroom was most likely done by town employees. The work that was done to the walls and the floor was done by a contractor.
You brought up before that the benefit package for some of these workers, but these workers can be quite expensive, and that's understandable. Could the town maybe explore the possibility, in regards to the security issue, to contract an outside company maybe to maintain the security there, where the town wouldn't be responsible for maintaining benefits and pensions and all of that stuff? Maybe that would be a little more cost effective.
I would have to look at the collective bargaining agreement and see if we could bring people in.
If we brought in,
to do work.
if we brought in public safety, it doesn't come out of our budget, it comes out of the operating budget of the town, right?
Correct.
Right.
So if you added more security, it would not raise one tax.
It wouldn't
And our
touch the
district-
special district tax.
Right.
That's why
But
I
our-
mentioned
our-
before, there
this
was
doesn't
folks
set-
there
it's
that
not
got
salary
shuffled,
we would have
so
to deal with.
we need to shuffle it back.
Right, well, we have to deal with this, the people that are up here that are not supervised.
Ma'am, did you still have a question?
I actually grew up in this neighborhood. I was a town employee for 6 years while I went to college. And I know that a lot of the kids that come back, we want these young kids to check IDs and be safe, but as a 19-year-old kid working at the park, I can't really confront a group of kids on the handball court. Nor can I expect with my 7 and 11-year-old that another 19-year-old kid is going to be able to help my children. I think it's also important to know that the people that actually work in the town are covering other parks. They may start out at Raft Park, but you know, my friends that I know that still work there, some of them are working at Valley Stream Parks. And they have to do the 4 parks in our own town district, and sometimes they get called to go to the beaches. So the staff at the park can only do what they've been approved to do. If something has to be done, the supervisor has to fill out a work order. It has to be approved by the town hall. We can't blame that on Denise, you know, who was directed to not come tonight, as was the rest of the staff. Just in defense of the people that work there. These are human beings that also mostly live in our neighborhoods as well.
Yeah, but the other people of the staff, in case you don't know, I'm Marissa Filardo, the rest of the staff has harassed me from the second Joel and I started this.
I don't know about that. But
have
as
they
a
been
former
directed, or
employee,
did
I
they
can say that
purposely not come?
I
Well, I
can't
don't
do
know why anyone
security.
would direct them not to come, if this is her parking, we're all here to talk about it.
I questioned her myself.
What do the Raft Park employees do during the winter?
Hibernate.
What do they do? There's not one there. There's not one employee there.
So they should be doing
I wasn't a winter.
No, what they should be doing, they're not doing.
There is
And
somebody
who
at Raft Park.
oversees that?
There is somebody there.
No.
By the tennis courts, they got underground electric and one of the,
Just wanna get
Oh,
into
somebody,
that.
one person.
Well, I'm just telling you, there is somebody there.
So,
I go there with my granddaughter.
I go there with my
Not
grandchildren
14
also.
people.
I see nobody during the winter.
The staff normally does the types of work that they can't do during the summer.
And what is that?
For example, the benches that need rehabilitation or repair, it's very difficult to do during the summer when there are people there.
It's kind of hard to paint when there's snow on the benches too.
This is what it's supposed to. Yeah. What I do is, it's going to be on the YouTube channel. This is like a special
YouTube, go on Facebook.
Yeah. Then I post it on my Facebook, just a video.
Supposed
And
to
then, like the main thing has, I cover Floral Park, I cover Garden City, and I cover the town of Hempstead. I do the budget hearings at St. Monica, Franklin Square, and the budget. Want a business card? Share it. Subscribe to my Facebook page, because then you'll get everything. Okay.
But who oversees that?
The supervisor of the park, we supervise my the regional is the state. And he's
Subscribe to the channel, then every time I upload
in
it,
that
you get a notification.
April, the four parks that the Park Franklin Square Park District, Elmwood Road, and Pickle Park.
Is that our security zone, what he's announcing, is that our zone for being patrolled as well?
I cannot, I don't know, public safety is the exact zone, but those parks will fall within the same zone. Are there additional in your
Put in front of me, you can see what happened, broken down, the floor.
You used to farm across the street called Guskies. And Island Gardens used to be here, and I think the Island Gardens grandstand. This bowling alley used to go.
I'm not equipped to answer that question. I can only answer the question related to park operation. And as you know, parks operation for a while had our own security personnel to supplement whatever public safety has done. So I saw, yes, me or
Up front. How much is a resident of Franklin Square? How much do we pay extra if you'd like to join Rath Park for the year?
$160.
Okay, just let me make a quick statement. Stewart Manor is an incorporated village. I'm a resident for 16 years in Franklin Square. I've been paying $500 to $700 a year to join a park in an incorporated village. What would it be possible for you to actually raise the rates of people for the family panel that want to join the Franklin Square Park? And let's say it's $200. I have 3 young kids. I've been investing $700 a year in somebody else's town, in their incorporated village. Why not give the people that are using Rath Park, the younger families, people that have children, an option? $200 is nothing. You go to a Yankee game, it's $400 with a family. Who wouldn't pay $400 for a safer place to bring their kids to a place that's just as comfortable as Stewart Manor? I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't know of any family in here. Maybe some of the older people that are living in this town that are on a fixed income, that are on a pension, that are on Social Security, maybe they can't afford it. But the fact is, if you make that a secure location, people from the town will make that a better park. If I'm allowed to pay, I would pay tomorrow $500 a year without a problem if I could go to that park till 9 o'clock at night on a Friday night when most working people come home. You get home at 5:30, the pool is closed before I even have a chance to go there. So I don't know of a family in this town that's living in Long Island that's spending $200,000 a year making to keep your nose above water, who wouldn't pay $500 to join and have a legitimate place. Because I know of at least 15 families that have gone to Stewart Manor for 10 years because it's just a better experience. And we're paying triple. So could we raise those rates and that money is directly put into that park and that pool set? It's done. Everybody would do it.
Sounds like first we gotta make the park a little better.
Right. No one's right. Yeah. Stop different elements from coming out into that park, and that will naturally get better. You can't put one security guy, you got to put 2 because there's 2 entrances. So we will patrol and police it ourselves. Okay? As soon as it gets better, it's like a garden. You water it, you pay attention to it, you bear fruit. So if you stop the outside people from coming into that park, it will naturally get better on its own. Then you can increase the rates. Nobody has a problem paying more if you're getting a better product, but at $193 a family, how can you possibly do a good job? The price has to reflect the effort. If you raise the price, you can naturally put more effort. You put more effort, more people come.
We're gonna try to make it better so people will want to come there.
Can I make a suggestion? Yes. We have a huge parking lot that is empty space. If we made that pool area larger, put in a slide for the kids to go down, and put in some diving boards, something, get rid of.
Diving boards in there? Diving boards. They added them back in, they took them out and they added them back in. Some kid got hurt years ago, so they took them out.
It's a terrible spot. Take some of that, put that towards them, and we would have such a nice park. You're right.
I'll show you what the gentleman with the glasses said. I was invited to that pool several times. These places are phenomenal. They have theme nights, they have movie nights, they have tube nights, they have a lot of things going on in practice.
More like a club kind of experience.
I have a question I've been trying to ask you, obviously. I know you may not want to hear me, but I do have a question. Yeah. Again, you know, improvements are all nice and whatnot, and toilet paper and new benches, it's all great. However, as a resident of this town, this area, I want to know who actively walks into that park, which is under the supervision of town, county, whatever, during the night, sweeps, and I don't mean with a broom, the park, make sure that if anybody is there doing drugs, doing all kinds of other things, they get kicked out or arrested. It's town property, so obviously you can't say I'm only the owner until 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the sun sets. That park is neglected all night long. What is found in the morning is evidence of drug use, all kinds of other things, you know, drunkenness, you know, cans, bottles, you name it, it's found. Very easy to pick it up and pretend it didn't happen, but this also makes the residents' life on the street, a living hell, because they know what's going on there, and also it makes the park just a bad place to be in. So you can say all you want, you know, we'll plant, we'll do this, we'll do, everything is great, you know, paint the benches, whatever. Who takes care of your property? Who is responsible for the safety of the place during the night? When normal citizens may not go in there, and that leaves the vacuum to form and bring whoever negative elements. Is there anybody who not just like drives by with a flashlight and then they cower and then they, you know, give them the finger? Is there anybody who walks through there and says, you out? If they don't, call the cops, get them arrested. Tell me. It's your property. We pay for it. What are you guys doing after hours when everybody's home? Are you doing anything?
The responsibility falls with the Department of Public Safety. Obviously, from what we've heard here this evening, they're not doing their job with respect to securing that facility, not just at night, but during the day. So we're going to address that issue with the department.
This is the first time actually hearing that public safety is not doing their job, or within the past year.
I heard of a couple incidents with safety related there. In those incidents, there was a public safety officer who reported to us what had happened. So there could be other issues that happened. I think there was 2 major security issues that happened during the last year, and we did have full reports for public safety. So we would have had the impression that they were there patrolling.
But it seems to be.
What I said before about public safety is the kids riding the bikes through, kids walking around, running around. Somebody's gonna get hurt one day if they don't wake up.
Maybe that park manager, whatever her name is, should be held more accountable to you guys. She's your employee.
I don't think there's a full-time employee, except for maybe one who's signed in after 4 o'clock. In the summertime, and it's crowded. in the summer. It's crap. And there's no full-time employee available. When I went to speak one out, none was available. A half an hour, 40 minutes later, one showed up. The situation was done by then. So there's no one there, no accountability on these full-time employees.
I don't think when we came into this room and you told us about the special park district that anybody knew about some of the other parks like Cornwall Avenue. Cornwall Avenue is borderline West Hempstead and Mount Vernon. I don't know anybody that's been here. Like I said, in 27 years, I've never been to that park. Why do we need to get that into our park district? How can you get it out of our park district? And nobody seemed to know that there was a bond, excuse me, nobody seemed to know that there was a bond for the ball fields. So you know what? Why don't we sell that property, put the money into the ball fields and into Rath Park, get rid of that debt and everything, and, you know, just improve Rath Park. Why do we kill ourselves and have a park that nobody's using?
You cannot, you can't even get to the area because there's no crosswalk.
They said Cornwall Avenue. Cornwall and Dortmund, there's a park over there.
Yeah, it's at it borders the borders the southern state over there. You barely see it.
You know that's part of our district?
I just found out about that last year.
I didn't even, I forgot all about it. So parking, right?
In this area, patrolling at all.
Well, it
doesn't matter if we don't have it there or not, there's National County Police Department. We have a park patrolling the area, especially if you know that this is a drug problem area. Because I haven't heard anybody say about National County Police Department.
Well, I've called them a few times, but they say,
Calling them, how come they're not there constantly
because they say that all their cars are concentrated in Elmont, and we don't really have enough problems for them to have a car by us.
That's not acceptable.
That's what I've been told.
It's not acceptable. Just so you're aware, the Pop Patrol has been notified on numerous occasions from the civilian patrol as we get.
No, we're not just talking about drugs, we're talking about safety of little girls and little boys.
The problem is the park, the cops don't patrol inside the park. That's public safety's jurisdiction.
As long as you
But
see
if they're
them
called, they
around.
come. The problem is getting somebody that works for the park to call cops.
No, you don't even have to work, I don't even see them around the area.
Firehouse, that's what they are.
That's exactly where they
Along the
are.
lines of improvement.
No, because I was coming down the street and he nearly hit me coming out and didn't have any lights on. He just wanted to make the light.
Along the lines of improvement, two things concerning the ball field. A, what are the improvements? When will they be finished? B, why, for approximately a year and a half, has there been no light on the American flag on that ball field? I was told by a Parks Department worker when I came to, oh, it must be broken, I'll speak to someone. This was after 3 months of I know not being on. I passed by it regularly in the evening. If you're going to have the flag, it must be lit.
Take it down.
Right, and they've done neither. They've left it there unlit.
Supervision, because we have a flag protocol that's supposed to be followed every single day by our employees. So there, if the flag is up, period, it means that someone didn't do a job, or the halyard is broken and no one has reported it. So I will definitely look into that because we have a standard flag reporting.
I'm sure, but what are the improvements to the ball field? That was the second part.
So they just did improvements to the ball field at the end of last year, right? They did the dugout repair, they did the field work, they did the fencing out there, they put new roofs on the dugout. So there was a series of things that happened at the end of last summer. What they're working on for this year is they're paving the parking lot that had all those potholes in it. They're doing the bench work, they're doing a pathway with the parking lot rehab, so they're gonna do a pathway around the ball fields, and they're repairing concrete curbing. So there was a lot of work done on the ball fields at the end of last year, and now they're working on sort of the infrastructure, the pathway.
I have a question regarding that. My backyard is Rath Park. My backyard butts up against the girls' softball field. Is there anything in the budget for fence repair? Because there's a lot of problems with fences, there's no privacy netting. Well, I'm there 18 years, the same broken down privacy fences there. There's holes in the fences, some of them are rusted. So that's a question. Number two, thank you for finally addressing the tree issue, because I had called numerous of times about trees being dead, that are gonna fall and injure somebody. The tree last week fell on my neighbor's house. So I thank you for coming to address that issue. I hope that they find the trees, because there's a tree in the field that is also dead that needs to be addressed, so I wanna say thank you. But, yeah, what about some other issues in regards to the maintenance for the fences, especially the ones on Benris Avenue? Sometimes they're locked, sometimes they're not locked.
They're also folded in now. so you
They're
can
also
climb under
folded in, there's kids climbing underneath. And as far as the flag goes, that flag has not been lit. My backyard, I see that flag every night. During the summertime, that used to be lit up very well, now it's not lit up at all. And not just the flag, the park itself. It's really, really dark back there.
Jim, I'm sorry, the lighting up of the flag. You remember when we walked the park last year, I brought up the fact that security lights in the park have not worked for over a year.
They're not on anymore.
They still don't work.
They're not on.
So those security lights in that park, I drove by it last night, pitch black. There are lights that are supposed to be on all night. Just for the purpose of when security is driving by, when the cops drive by, if someone's in the park, they can see it. It's pitch black when you drive by. Those lights have not worked
All year
in at
round.
least 2.5 years.
Are you sure that they're just not putting them on purpose? Because I have to tell you, when I had my petition years ago, people wouldn't sign my petition because they said, nobody asked me about putting up those lights, they shine in my backyard. So I'm just curious if they actually do work and they're just not putting them on.
I have a quick question. Now, obviously,
The question was, are the lights not working, or are the lights not being turned on because people complain that they're in?
I don't have the answer, but I will certainly get the answer, because if the lights are a problem for a neighbor, the lights can be oriented in a way that it doesn't cast a light directly on you and make you uncomfortable. So I would have to find out why they're off.
We will look into the lights, and we will get back by email.
can I just,
How long did we hear when he's saying, I'll get back to you, and anything, how long does it take?
And how-
Is there another meeting you plan on having in 2 months?
Yeah, how are we gonna know the results of tonight, what you decide?
Next to this, this is my answer, or I can take it.
I'll report my findings back. Starting tomorrow, I'm going to have to take a look at lights. Flag protocol has to be addressed.
And the flag.
Fence has to be looked at immediately.
Right.
And I'll report that back to my administration to Rebecca.
Right, and then.
Community works another meeting in 2 months, we'll come back in 2
Yes,
months.
Rebecca's gonna get all this from him, and I appreciate everything you're doing.
Yeah, and we also have folks, people are filling out the cards, we have someone in the back who works with student affairs, is gonna take everything, we'll put it all together, like all the recommendations, everything you wanna do. We'll give prices for things, how much do they cost, what's implementable, and then let's come back and have another conversation about what the next step is based on what you do. You mean the parks folks? So,
Why should we have to?
like residents, have our
just a quick question with the, as far as, I understand how, go ahead. All right.
I will say that, first of all, we are gonna try to fix this without you already paying a tax for the special park district. Has there been a situation, we had a situation kind of like the one you described, we had a park in Merrick called Winston Avenue Park. It was just a field, there was nothing there. The residents decided that they really wanted to make it a playground for children, there's a lot of fighting about it in the neighborhood. But they actually developed a little nonprofit to raise money to put equipment in that park. The town park, we got grant money also to put in, so we got some grant to put in equipment. They had their little nonprofit that put in some money. So is there a precedent for that? Yes. I'm not saying that you should have to go out and raise money to pay for your park, but if there's something special that you want in your park, there is a precedent that happened in Merrick. And we can put you in touch with those people, but I don't want you to think I'm just passing the buck, like, okay, if you want your park better, you have to go raise your own money.
that's not what I'm saying, but since you asked the question, yes, that has happened in the past, it happened in Merritt.
Sir, I'm
So,
sorry that this.
yeah, just a quick one. I understand how government official works and all that, but how does a town like this hold not only you, but others accountable? Who's responsible for this park? How can we make, if we don't like what we're seeing, who's the council member, who's the person in government that we should be looking at saying, hey, if you don't do this, you lose the votes, because that's the only way things get done is if they get kicked out of office.
So
That's
I'm just going to tell you just a little bit of a hierarchy here. So I'm the supervisor. I'm the CEO of the town. I oversee the town.
Yep.
Right? I take responsibility for that. There are various departments. The departments are run by commissioners. So the Parks Department has a commissioner, Sanitation Department has a commissioner, all the different
Do
departments.
you elect the commissioners or the commissioners elect?
No. So what you need to know about every single commissioner that's in place for the town of Hempstead. Generally, when a new executive comes in, they can appoint commissioners. However, you need 4 votes on the town board to get your commissioners appointed. I came in, I don't have 4 votes. So every single commissioner who's there is a holdover. Either they're appointed by Kate Murray or they're appointed by Tony Santino. They're all holdover commissioners. That doesn't mean they're all bad. I'm not saying anything bad about them, but I'm saying...
Well, we are.
They are not people that I appointed. And if I want to replace a commissioner, I need to get members on my board to vote with me. And I don't know if you read Newsday, but if you read Newsday, you'll see there are a lot of votes that go down in the town of Hempstead, and there's 6-1, and the 1 is me.
So is Blakeman responsible for one of the votes? I know you're close with
Blakeman
Blakeman.
is responsible
Blakeman's
for one
one.
of the votes, and Ambrosino is responsible for one of the votes.
Okay, so them two have voted for this commissioner that's currently there?
Yes.
Okay.
Reno.
Why does the town not have voicemail for any of the people, and why do you not list email addresses like they do in the city of New York? If I was to call the highway department, you can't call before 9 o'clock, not a minute before 9 o'clock, and if you call after 3 o'clock, the people have left for the day. If you want to leave a message, it tells you to call the next day. They publish on the internet the road sweeping schedules, which they never keep, and it's all balanced upon the vehicles being available or working. So you move your car to get the street swept, and 2 weeks later they never come. Why can't you do the same thing as the city of New York? Why is there such apprehension about being able to take voicemail in all these departments and posting email addresses so everybody in the room can say something when there's an issue and not be forced to call certain periods of time?
So, my platform was transparency, again, putting information out there for you. We just had an issue. Mr. Procacci reached out to our helpline. In the town of Hempstead, we have a helpline, right? It used to be the supervisor's helpline. It was under my budget. I was in charge of overseeing the helpline. One of the things they did when I presented my budget, one of the things that the board members did in their little 76 amendments to my budget, was they took the helpline out of my budget and put it into the Republican majority. They're all part-time council people, but now they oversee the helpline. So if you call the helpline, it's being overseen by Aaron King Sweeney's former legislative aide, Alex Vasallo. He's now in charge of the helpline. He reports to the Republican majority. He does not report to me. These are just facts. Mr. Procacci brought to my attention last week that he called the helpline and he asked for the email address of the compliance officer. We have a new compliance officer who's overseeing all the contracts in the town. And he was told by the helpline that he had to file a FOIL request to get the email of the compliance
True story.
Mr. Procacci brought that to my attention, so I marched into the helpline, and I said, and they said the town attorney told them that. So I marched in there and I said, ladies, they're all ladies who work there. I said, why did you tell Mr. Procacci that he had a FOIL to get an email address of an employee? That is crazy. The taxpayers are entitled to this information. And they said, Alex told us that. So I said, Alex, why did you say that to Mr. Procacci? And he said, the town attorney's office told me that. And I said, who in the town attorney's office told you that? And he said, Joe Ra. No, Albina. And I said, okay. So then I called Joe Ra.
I didn't get him on the phone, but I saw him in the garage, and I said, Joe, I want to let you know about this conversation I just had with Alex Vasallo. And he said, I never said that to Alex Vasallo. So, if you call the helpline and you get a response, like you have to FOIL for an email address, call my office.
We don't want that. We want the email addresses posted on the website, and we want voicemail.
And I think I will
Her
look into
email
that and
address
post
is
them
on.
online. I'm trying to post everything online.
All commissioners, all different directors, all different departments. I shouldn't have to call the switchboard at City Hall in order for them to transfer me to the Highway Department.
Council members email them online already. And I don't know about the commission. But if they're not, we're gonna put them up. You're right.
Voicemail.
They do have voicemail, they don't use it.
Call the sanitation, call the sanitation department, call the highway department, no voicemail.
They turn it off, they have it available.
Call the water department, call back the next day.
The system can handle it, they just don't use it.
So, you call, you go up the ladder. You shouldn't have to go to
You do have to turn on the
supervisor
voicemail. I've left voicemail messages for town employees that I know. Some people, they don't want to get it, so they shut it off. No, the system is available. They put it in the phone system, cost a lot of money, just a few years ago.
He doesn't do anything. How do we hold him accountable? Like, what is the, how do we?
There's an election in November.
Get rid of
Social media, that's it. But you know what, you need to put it on social media and different things and let people know that they're not being receptive, because you know what, it's just not acceptable.
Well, just so we know, the minute I called supervisor, and I'm not a Democrat, I'm sorry, I am a Republican.
My husband is a Republican.
Raised in Franklin Square, okay?
And I'm running with the Republican, who's right over there.
Yes,
Not me.
so, both of my parents are Republican.
Not me.
The minute I called Laura's office, immediately that week, Joel and I were in her office meeting with her for the first time. Still haven't heard from Bruce Blakeman almost a year later. Just saying.
I work for you. I understand that, and I take my job very seriously. I work for you. I'm here to help you. That's what I want to do. That's why I'm here tonight. I'm hearing your concerns, and I want to fix them. That's why I'm here, that's why Jim's here, that's why Rebecca's here, and that's why Ray's here.
We got one more question.
I appreciate you coming tonight and listening to us. We want to make Franklin Square great again.
Well, we heard that before.
I had to use that line. There is a lot of grant money out there. Can't we get grant money for capital improvements? Before, I hate to say his name, before he was going to leave his office, he was promised, listen, I got $250,000 for Franklin Square. He says, but I need a capital improvement. I said, what am I going to get for, building the turnpike, building something? But he left. So I know there's money out there for grant money. We'll make your sponsors. We'll get Pepsi Cola. We can light up that field like a Christmas tree. I mean, there's money out there, and there's plenty of it. But it's up to us. We want to make Franklin Square great again.
That's how you get a scoreboard.
Because I was in the 5 towns, because we have a real issue with security. There's a lot of hate crimes on the rise, so we brought our grants director to the 5 towns to reach out to that community to talk about how they can apply, to educate them on how they can apply for grants, to try to get more security for their synagogues or for their churches or whatever it is. So we have a grant writer in the town of Hempstead, and we can work with your community to try to get more grants for parks and reach out to, we can get grants from the county. So your county legislator can try to help us get a grant. All right, well.
And in terms of, there's actually been something that's been happening is there were a lot of commitments made by state electeds as they were exiting in hundreds of thousands of dollars to different things. And so we have like paperwork, so just, we don't have a particular one for your district, but we've been following up with the new electeds, and there wasn't necessarily a clear earmark. So if there was a commitment, they said, oh, there's 250, it's coming. If that administration's left or that state elected's left, there's a chance that it's not there when we go back to look for it, just so you know. But your district has gotten grant money, so most likely most of what the state gives out are SAM grants from DASNY, and so there are $100,000, $200,000, and we use those monies to match with capital funds so that we can leverage bigger improvements. So we're going to keep going after them, keep looking for them. CRP grants from the county are great, you go up to $250,000. We write them, we have to figure out what the project is, we're happy to go down that path.
Can they get the lights fixed on Hempstead Turnpike so you can drive more than one block without stopping at a light?
That is a state road. But if you go to our Town of Hempstead website, we now have an interactive GIS map. So if you put down in any street where you have an issue, you'll get a color-coded map that'll tell you if it's state road, county road, village road, or town road. And if it's a town road, you can put in your complaint electronically right in. If it's another road, like you have an issue with a state road, if you go to that, there's a number of the right person to call to report your issue.
So what's the follow-up from tonight?
So
Like, how
I
are we
think
gonna
we should have
decide?
another community meeting in a couple of months. We're gonna work on the cards you gave us. And I don't mean that we're just gonna wait a couple of months to work on things. We're gonna start working on things, but then we'll report back to you.
So everybody who signed in that gave us a contact for you, an email address,
You said you
we'll
come
be
to water
sending out an
district,
email
did
once
they
we
raise
get
the
some
price
follow-up
on
on
the
some of
cents
these
to
items back from the
25%?
Parks Department and some of
Increase,
the
you see
stuff
that
that the
recently?
supervisor's
Water
office has
district?
committed to
Less
working
thanks to
on.
water, they
Like
raised
talking
the
with public
prices.
safety to increase
Less thanks to
security.
the
We will reach out to everybody who has an
they
email.
raised
Signed in,
25%
you'll
on
get an email
water.
telling you when the next meeting is.
On the water rate,
On the water rate.
well, that's the reason why that's been going on all over town, everywhere is because
Yeah, because of the infiltration, yeah.
because those things, like, I forget what
Yeah,
they call it,
I
they
know.
take out the real parts per million they're taking out, because it's $5 million for a piece. All the water districts, 2-3 years ago, the rates went up throughout the town. I was at the meeting when they had the resolution. They went up. It was like a 20-30% increase. Maybe even more than that.
For a district, there's a public hearing. There's not a vote per se, but there's a public hearing. So there's a call for a hearing, there's a public hearing, you come to town hall, everyone expresses their opinion about whatever that improvement is with the associated cost, and then the council then to vote on it based on what they think is best thing.
We list the projects in that hearing document. So that once it's passed by the board, those are the projects that we're ready for, and that's it.
If they don't change them afterwards, they've changed
So
them.
all of you will have the opportunity to come to a public hearing, come to a town board meeting. We'll try to do it at one of our night meetings, so this way you can get there.
Who makes the final list? Like, say we had 10 proposals, you guys pick 5, and then that's what you pick out.
We would draw up the resolution, but we're gonna do that with community input, right? That's why we're here today. Like, there's no point in us picking out 5 things if that's not what you want.
Would it be possible to get that survey sent out again since the return on it was so low? Maybe,
I was gonna say that, I never got one. You guys saying you said 9,000? Yeah, I mean, you guys said 9,000 out, you only got 400.
Well, how about we put it up on the Town of Hempstead website?
No, it's inside.
We'll put it up on the web.
Alright, so that might take us a couple days to get it together, put it up, but by next week, we'll have it up on our website, so you can download it from the website and you can share it.
But is there any way to verify, like, that it's coming from a Franklin Square resident that way? That's the only concern about that, because we don't really need other people having input into our
But you're gonna have to put your, let's say you're at 123 Smith Street, right, and your name is whatever, you know, if we get 5 of them from 123 Smith Street that say they all want a spray pad, you know, we can take those and
We can filter.
Yeah, so we can make a fillable form, it's just we
Names
just
on
have
it and fill it out.
we're gonna figure this out and we'll get something for you, we can put the survey back up, that's fine.
Yes. Yes, 100%.
Hey Rebecca, can we sell that Cornwall Park system here?
Yeah.
If you pay for it and nobody gets it.
Yeah, I don't know what the price is.
Sell it, put it back in the district.
I know.
I'm pretty sure that's a deeded property. I don't
Gotta use the microphones.
Turn that idea around before they see it.
Yeah.